Welcome, everybody, back to the newest episode of the collectingrog podcast. As always, I am your host, Raj. Thank you guys for joining me today. Hopefully, we'll have less technical difficulties in recording the pod this week than we did last week. And again, for everybody who caught the audio-only version last week, again, I do apologize about the sound quality. I'm aware that it was really, really rough. It sounded like I was talking to you guys through a telephone. Not the intention, unfortunately. When apps don't want to work, there's not a lot of options for recording, so you got to just make it work the best you can. But again, thank you guys for joining me. And before we get started, let's go ahead and get done with all of the pleasantries. And that is, remember to follow me on all forms of social media at collectingrog. You can find me on TikTok, on Instagram, and you can also find me on YouTube under the same name, under all of them. So follow, subscribe, check out all my content, hit the like button on a couple of them, leave a comment. And also, I do have a Q&A coming up, so feel free to DM me a message directly either through Instagram or on TikTok if you'd like, and I believe you can even message me through YouTube as well. I haven't really got any messages through that. I have gotten lots of comments, but no messages. But if you want to, you're more than welcome to message me through there with any question you may have, and maybe we'll get it onto the podcast when we do the Q&A episode. But let's go ahead and start off and knock out the wrestling talk real early. And by that, we're going to go ahead and start it on this week's Dynamite, which, of course, the big talking point from that was the Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson match, which was excellent. I mean, you want to talk about watching a classic of the making. I thought it was absolutely incredible. It was actually funny. I was having my sons watch it with me because they haven't really had the opportunity to see a lot of what I would refer to as classic wrestling matches or anything that would be considered an amazing wrestling match. And so I try to get them to kind of watch it with me. And unfortunately, it's not that they weren't into it necessarily, but boys of their age typically, they're so distracted with Rubik's cubes and weird things like that they kind of zoned in and out. But I was fortunately able to enjoy the match, definitely for the classic that it was. Did not mind the finish at all, it going to a draw. If anything, I thought was a pretty solid idea. They haven't done a lot of draw finishes in AEW, so I was completely for it. And I don't think either guy came out looking any worse for wear on the end of it. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is fantastic. This 30 minutes of two guys just beating the crap out of each other. Really, really good stuff. So go check that out if you have the time. You won't regret it because it was absolutely great. And really about the only thing outside of that from that show, it was a good show overall. I couldn't complain. That crowd was so hot, and I couldn't believe, crowd 20,000 plus. Just, it was really, from top to bottom, just such a great show. It's really hard to, isolate any of it as being bad or good necessarily. But I will say I did enjoy the Cody and Malachi match, especially considering that, just you could tell the tide is turning on Cody in terms of him becoming a heel eventually. The crowd's just really anti-Cody, and I really am just waiting for him to become that full-blown, Homelander, kiss babies and shake hands, that self-absorbed, self-aware, good guy that's really a bad guy. I think it's going to be tremendous when it finally happens. But it was a good match. It was cool to get to see Malachi get the win, and him being able to, facilitate using the Mist was also a nice touch. The Mist is definitely something that's pretty underutilized in wrestling these days. So it's really cool seeing him pull that off for the match. Now, this week, Dynamite is going to be in Rochester. And I'm almost guaranteeing that it's going to be a pretty heavy show for them to do. Obviously, there's a lot of ties to Rochester and the late Brody Lee. So I do have a feeling that there's going to be some kind of tie-in or something involving Brody there. And even if there's nothing involving Brody there, storyline wise, I do have a feeling that just the presence and the love for Brody is going to be big and imminent in that crowd, and they're really going to be on fire to show support for the late Brody Lee. So I look forward to the show. I do think that there's a chance that the I mean, I guess you can call him his normal name, his name, which is Wenda Rotunda, the former Bray Wyatt. I do have a feeling he's going to be making an appearance on this week's Dynamite. I mean, it would kind of make sense to do it in Rochester. Now, what they do with them, I've got no clue. I mean, really, it could go a number of ways. I had a nice long discussion with my buddy Hall yesterday about it, and there's a lot of possibilities for how they could use them and what direction they can go. So I look forward to seeing how they're going to pull that off. But one thing I do want to touch on real quick while we're on the subject of AEW is that after talking with fellow Major Mark and brother in kayfabe Jake Keel, he was pointing out to me that the LJN Cody Rhodes, that he noticed that apparently there is, I mean, I guess you could call it a variant. I was not aware of this until he pointed it out to me. So on Cody, on this one I have, the eyes are pretty much straight ahead, dead on, no deviation. However, apparently there's a version that has the eyes kind of like drifted off to the side like that. Going off, you know, I believe they kind of like look off to the right, kind of like he's giving somebody the hard side eye. So, I haven't seen one yet, but apparently it's a thing. So if you have the Cody LJN, check yours out. See if it's got the side eye or not. Mine's got the straight eye. But, you know, there you go. There's apparently a variant floating around of that version of the figure. So check that out. And if anything, it's just one more thing to add to your add to your pile of stuff if you're a AEW Jazzwares collector. So I found that a nice little tidbit and thought I'd let you guys know about that since it was on my mind. Now, yesterday I did take a trip to Tulsa again. Went with good brother Hall. It was a pretty successful trip. I ended up needing more cases, protectors for my figures. I ended up actually getting 2 more X-Men figures from the Toy Biz line. I totally forgot to toss them over here by me for the shooting of the video version of this podcast. But I ended up making a mistake and grabbed the wrong size cases for them, so I don't even have protectors right now. Bought a bunch of cases, got the wrong size. However, the size I did end up getting magically ended up actually fitting these, which are the old school Rimco figures. Now, these two particular figures are actually my father's. We discovered that he still had these up in a closet, and unfortunately, these things are old as hell, like older than me, made in '82. The cards are still okay, coloring-wise, but the bubbles are really just deteriorating bad. Unfortunately, plastic back then was not as high quality as it is now, and so they had the just brown and starting to crack. And I really wanted to preserve these, so it actually was kind of, I guess, fate that the cases I bought that were the wrong size ended up fitting these Rimcos perfectly. So if you have any Rimco-style figures, this case is going to be the MTB1 that you can find at Toy Shield. But these figures are absolutely amazing. It's really cool to have these in protectors now. I feel a lot better about having them since they're encased. Like I said, I know the cards aren't perfect on them, but them being on card at all is pretty miraculous. So it's a really, really cool thing. So yeah, if you need the cases for your Rimco style figures, whether it's the WWE stuff, Mo2, whatever, the MTB ones should fit them just fine. Now, on the subject of Toy Shield, while I'm at it, I did have a discussion with one of the employees with Vintage Toy Mall in Jinx when I was there picking up the cases. And they informed me that essentially pretty soon they will be temporarily closing down the website in order to kind of catch back up on stock and then possibly integrate some other options into their offerings. So if you do need cases and protectors for your figures, I would highly recommend going online and getting your orders in for what you need now, because I'm not sure just how much longer the site will be available for purchases. So remember, that's toyshield.com. Check them out. Lots of great cases. I intended to get the cases for my X-Men Toy Biz, as well as some Bat 1s and Bat 2s, which typically fit a lot of the Mattel Elites and the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, which I talked about in a previous episode. So if you want to see me sizing those up and showing those off and how they fit, go back and check out one of my previous episodes of the video version of the podcast, and you could see those as well. But I will say that on the note of these DC Warlord figures by Rimco, I have the Warlord loose in my DTOV, and it's one of my most prized figures. I mean, Wrong has value to it, sure, but it definitely means a lot to me. It's it's my father's favorite comic book character, so it's really incredible to see that these things are still in package and being able to find a way to preserve them. And it's really cool, if anything, to kind of show you guys off. Like, I love the design of the character, the winged helmet, the cape, which even has some little stitching there along the middle to connect it, which I think is really cool. Just I don't know, it's very obviously Motu inspired in its design. And actually, I think this may have been before Motu. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure on the complete history. But very, very cool figures, and yeah, very cool to have that and being able to have it safely in the confines of a protector. Excuse me. So, like I said, I did pick up some Toy Biz X-Men stuff that I wanted to put in cases. I wish I would have brought them over here so I could have put them on camera for you guys. And actually, I think I could probably do that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to step off camera for just a moment. Because honestly, I'd rather go ahead and show you guys these now while I have the opportunity. That way we can avoid having to talk about it again on next week's pod. So, first off, I got the Series 1 Archangel with the white wings. And this one is, of course, the 9-back card, which I've kind of talked about a few times. The Series 1 stuff, I am very insistent that it has the 9-back on the card. And by 9-back, I mean the 6 figures from the heroes and 3 from the villains. This goes along with the Wolverine and the Apocalypse that I currently have. And then I also got the Storm. Now this one I do need to get some gunk remover and take off the sticker here. Otherwise, the card on it's pretty nice. I did notice there is a scuff here. That hurts a little bit, but otherwise the rest of the package is pretty minty. So I can't complain. And the thing that's kind of hard to find with these in particular, which was another conversation I had yesterday, is on these Series 1 figures, you get 1 or 2 different cards inside of them. As you see with the Storm, there's a white bordered Marvel card inside of it. And then inside this Archangel, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a red border X-Men series card inside of it. So, because there's not a lot of information on the internet in terms of like which one's actually Series 1 and which one's not, I'm going to say that if you're talking actual first print run, more than likely it's going to be the one with the white card. And I've also noticed the ones with the white cards also have a butterfly hook at the top, while the ones that have the red border card have the J hook at the top. Because I also looked over the Wolverine and the Apocalypse that I already have. And those, one of them has the white border card, one has the red border card. So, not totally sure which one is actually, chicken before the egg, if you know what I mean. However, at this point, because it's so hard to find any of these mint on card, let alone finding the specific version with the butterfly hook or, white card, red border, whatever. I'm going to keep my eyes out and keep looking. It would be nice to have a full set of the 9 with the butterfly hook and the white card, because I do believe that would be technically the actual first release version. However, at this time, I'm going to try to just get a full set of the 9, and if I need to be picky beyond that, I will do so a little at a time, because it can be pretty time-consuming, expensive to try to find all these things, especially mint on card, because you're still talking figures that are almost 30 years old at this point. So I'm just going to try to get the 9, which is the Wolverine, the Storm, the Archangel, the Nightcrawler, the blue and white Cyclops, the Colossus, the Juggernaut, the Magneto, and the Apocalypse. I actually found a couple of those loose yesterday when we were in Tulsa, and I almost got them, but, unfortunately, because I am trying to get Series 1 mint on card, there's really no point in buying them loose and on mint on card as well. since we're on the subject of Tulsa, like I said, it was a very successful trip. Got a bunch of cases. However, this morning, like I said, finding out that I got the wrong size on some of them, a little bit bums me out, but they are very flexible. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to exchange what I need for the proper cases, depending they have them. So, first off, our first stop that we made while we were there was at the Vintage Toy Mall in Jinx, which there we got cases. And then from there, we went over to the Vintage Toy Mall in Broken Arrow, which ended up being a great stop. He's never been to these particular shops in Tulsa with me, and I'm talking about Brother Hall. And we had a hell of a haul from there, no pun intended. So myself in particular, I only ended up actually walking out with 2 figures, but I thought both of them are pretty great. And the first one was this Black Lantern Venimates Black Lantern Hal Jordan, which was a Walgreens exclusive. This thing, I don't collect a lot of these Venimates style figures, but it's just kind of like a little, vinyl figure. Not quite a Funko Pop, but really cool. So it's going to go great on my Hal Jordan shelf. So that was a nice get right there. And then I also picked up this. It is a More Creations Evil Ernie, and it's the Wizard price guide glow-in-the-dark exclusive. And the card on this thing is actually pretty nice. There's a little bit of bending right there at the top. But this was made in 1997. And for it to still be in this good condition, bubbles completely clear, color on the card's great, hell of a deal. And as you can see, $10, killer deal, beautiful figure. I've got Evil Ernie loose in my collection, but it's really nice to have another figure from my childhood because me and my father were huge fans of Chaos Comics. They were really starting to pick up momentum when me and my father first got into the toy business when he had bought a comic book shop from a lady named Gertrude back around 95, 96, that time period. And we were there for the huge explosion of Chaos Comics in the comic book market when really the primary comic companies like DC and Marvel were really struggling to put out good content. But very, very cool to add this to my collection. So that was my other pickup from Vintage Toy Mall in Broken Arrow. Excuse me. And then while we were there, he ended up getting him a Harley Quinn GameStop exclusive statue, which was very, very cool. I believe it was from Arkham City, if I'm not mistaken. But it is a really cool Harley Quinn statue. And then he also picked up a 3-piece statue set from Star Trek that was Spock, McCoy, and Kirk. Basically like a 3-piece one that you put together, and they were limited to 1,000, so each one was individually numbered. Very, very cool statue and killer deal. And of course, as always, they were super friendly, very helpful, great experience there. So again, big thank you to Vintage Toy Mall, both of Jinx and Broken Arrow, for your hospitality. And just for being great shops and giving us a lot of options for walking away with something really, really cool. So from there, we ended up stopping at a local Target. And at that Target, I ended up getting this Robin King DC Multiverse Build-A-Figure figure. I know you're thinking figure, but it is. This has the chest piece that goes to the Dark Father. And if you saw it on my Instagram as well as through the YouTube channel, I recently did the unboxing for the what I call Ugly Superman from this same set. And the figure is okay. Nothing mind-blowing. But I explained that I'd gotten it on clearance for $7.50 at my local Target. Well, while we were up there, we found this one, and I ended up getting it also for $7.50. Killer deal. I actually wanted to get Robin King, so not only being able to get that, but another Build-A-Figure part for $7.50. Amazing deal. So keep an eye on your Targets, and you may be able to get Robin King here, or any of the other 3 figures in the set, which is the Batman, the Superman, and the Wonder Woman, for that price. Even if you get all 4 and get you a set, I mean, you're going to get all 4 figures and build the Dark Father for roughly, under $30. really, really great deal. So check your local Targets for that. And then, of course, also on the local on the Target, I don't know why I keep saying local, but on the Target front, they've also clearanced the Ric Flair Ultimate Editions down to $9. So I know, kind of like I discussed on the unboxing for the figure, I know Ric Flair is kind of a hot button topic right now. So I'm not going to go into the details or make this a political issue. But if you want a nice action figure for your collection, it's a great figure, and $9 is an absolute steal. So check out your Targets. You may be able to get one of those for that price. And so then we went from there over to Fan Fortress in Tulsa. And there, I actually ended up getting a few things as well in that location. So first off, I ended up getting this Neca Ash vs. the Evil Dead Ash. And this is the one that comes in the Value Stop uniform, which is very, very cool. I will end up doing an unboxing for this one at some point later today, because I do have a couple of Ashes in my case already, but they are all, younger Ash or Army of Darkness Ash. So it'll be really cool to have this older, grizzled version of Ash from the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show added to the collection. Also, great deal on that, $21 there. So awesome deal on that. And that was actually a gift purchased by Brother Hall, so thank you for that, good sir. And also while I was there, because I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a Toy Biz Min on Card collection for Spider-Man, I found some loosies, and I thought, you know what, this is a great chance to just maybe get a loose collection of them. Because I did love the Toy Biz Spider-Man action figures that came out around the same time as the X-Men ones. And as hard as the X-Men ones are... As hard as the X-Men figures are to find, the Spider-Man ones are even more difficult to find. And so, I picked up the Spider-Man. I don't know if you can see that real well. He's a Lucy. Still got the little web attachment on his hand and the little connector rope, so very, very cool. I also got Carnage, which is awesome. One of my favorite figures from that early Toy Biz line. Hopefully you can see that. And actually, we'll just go ahead and rip these open live here on the podcast because, why not? And I'm actually pretty surprised that the Carnage and the Spider-Man still have their accessories, so that's very cool. The Venom I got does not, unfortunately, but that's okay. Really, I just wanted to make sure the figures were in good shape. The Venom does need a little bit of a fig bath, so that will end up happening, but there's the Spider-Man. Like I say, he's got the little attachment rope, the little web right there on his hand. Super cool figure. I loved these Toy Biz Spider-Man figures. They were so damn good. And like I said, and there's the Venom. Like I said, this one needs a little bit of a fig bath, a little bit of looks like a red marker or something in there on his chest. Probably like every other boy who had these things when they were my age, and just hey, let's make them bloody, and just threw something on there. Otherwise, the action still works on it. There's the tongue. Yeah, really cool. So Venom, very, very cool Toy Biz. And then, like I said, in the Carnage, this one is complete with its axe attachment for its wrist, as well as the kind of like symbiote claw. And these just attach onto the wrist. They just kind of snap on like that. And yeah, so he's complete, and this Carnage looks great. Got the little grip on the back there to kind of help turn him. So, very, very cool. I essentially got me a Spider-Man, Carnage, and Venom for my Lucy collection for the detail of. Oop, and there I go, dropping the claw. So that's cool. So yeah, awesome find there at Fan Fortress. So, big thank you to them as well. They were great as always, and got some great stuff from there. Because those Spider-Man figures are fantastic. The price was killer. I think I got all three of them under around $10. And the Ash, it's awesome. Honestly, I've never actually seen this Neca Ash figure with the Value Stop uniform on. It's kind of a cool departure from the typical blue shirted Ash. To have him kind of a red work shirt is definitely unique. So very, very cool. Look that up if you don't know what it looks like. You can either check out my Instagram. I'll have pictures of it there. Or also just check out the unboxing, which I'll have up very soon as well. Also, speaking of unboxings, I put up a whole slew of them a couple of days ago. So check those out. I did the unboxings for the Ugly Superman from the Build-A-Figure set from DC Multiverse. I also did the unboxing for the Ric Flair figure from the Ultimate Edition line. Then also did the Mirrorverse Disney figures of Sully with the Paladin armor. And then also the Buzz Lightyear, which were great figures. So go check out those videos. Or if you don't want to see the videos, I do have pictures of them up on Instagram and a few shots of them over on TikTok as well. I did really get lucky. I managed to get this really cool turntable stand that I got from Amazon. There's a little switch on it. You just flip it there, and either you can just turn it on and the table will actually rotate, which is really cool. I'm going to try to put this on so you guys can see it on the video. But if you want to see what it looks like, you can check out my TikTok channel and you can see it there. But it just slowly turns the figure you have on it. Or you can also turn it where it's just a light but no rotation on the platform. About $15 on Amazon. Just check it out. Just search rotating display stand and you'll find it there. Very cool. So along with those items, we left there and decided, hey, I'm gonna hit a Target on the way out. Let's just see if we can get one more thing. And I ended up kicking up this Legends Series Infinity Saga 2-pack with Happy Hogan and Iron Man. Now, these things have been kind of a weird thing in terms of retail, because when they first came out, people were scanning them and they were already showing up at a clearance price, which was very odd, because normally retail them was like $50 or $55. And but people were scanning them like, oh, it was $29.99, clearance priced already for some reason. Well, your brother Jake Keel hit me up, and while we were talking about some AEW stuff, I had another friend message me at the same time, and he had found these at the Target location by Quail Springs Mall in my area, and they had them on clearance down to $15, and I thought, man, I've got to get one of those, but it's super late. I wasn't going to go to Quail. So I stopped at one of the Targets on the way out of Tulsa and managed to find this, and it was in fact $15.50. Hell of a deal, because even if you don't want Happy Hogan, pop that head off, and you can take probably the head off of a WWE figure and make yourself a suited version of one of your wrestlers. And the Iron Man's actually not too bad looking. It's actually a pretty cool Iron Man, which I don't have an Iron Man in my collection, so instant. That's instant money right there. A lot of value, $15. You can't beat it. Just so if you want to, check your Target, see if they got these. Even if the tag isn't changed on the, I guess on the rack where it sits, take it to a scanner and check it, because the one on the rack this was setting on that had the label, it still said the normal retail price. Took it over there, scanned it, checked it, $15. So very awesome get right there. Also, keep in mind that the Legends Series Target figures that was recently released that had the Big John Studd and Scott Hall and Bam Bam Bigelow in it, some of those figures are now ringing up as clearance at some Targets as well. It may ring up $6, it may ring up $10. I know the Big John Studd I found yesterday rang up at $6. Ended up passing on because, quite frankly, I'm not wowed by that Big John Studd. Didn't really need it, so I just left it there for somebody else. Sure, I could have bought it and used it as trade bait or just kind of stash it for an investment purchase, but I decided there just wasn't much point in it, so passed on that. Now, I did end up getting to stop at a Walmart in my area about 2 days ago on my way home, and on a whim, I stopped in there. Kind of an isolated Walmart, a little bit out. I wouldn't say in the country quite say, but it's kind of out there, so sometimes you can find some hidden gems, and I finally got a hold of this damn Elite 85 Aleister Black. Aleister Black's last WWE figure. I've been trying to get this thing for so long. I have seen the other figures in this set, which is the weird, disgustingly awful Bray Wyatt, the Karrion Kross, which I've already gotten opened. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, Undertaker, and Aleister. I've seen all of the other figures on the shelves for over a month now. And honestly, in plenty. Like, they're just kind of hanging out. But this is the only figure out of this set that I've just not seen anywhere. And I happened to get there, and boom, there it was. Super pumped to have this figure. I mean, the only Alistair I have right now is the basic. So I'm extremely excited to finally have an elite version of Alistair Black. So check the channel out sometime later this week for the unboxing video for that, because I'm definitely cracking that sucker open. I want to see what it looks like in that jacket, because I think it's going to be pretty good. Also, for mail calls this week, pulled some, pulled a few, I guess, strings here and there, and ended up getting myself the Sugar Skull Jessica Cruz Green Lantern Funko Pop. Now, there's a lot of the Sugar Skull Funkos in this DC set are pretty cool. I myself don't think I need all of them, but this Green Lantern one is just really great. It just really just jumps off the page at you. Lots of cool details on it, like the flame coming out of the lantern, and of course the projection coming off of her ring. So that's a very cool Funko. And it's going to go great with the rest of my Green Lantern stuff. And then I also picked up the Black Lantern Wonder Woman. I am not a Wonder Woman collector at all, but because it's Black Lantern, why the heck not? So very cool getting both of those added. Those will probably end up staying in box. Got no real reason to unbox those. I mean, maybe Jessica Cruz I'll unbox, but I don't know. I'm kind of weird with the Funko stuff in terms of what I want to keep boxed and what I actually want to open up. Lastly, as far as my, I guess, purchases slash what I've gotten in the mail this week. This week, as you can probably see already, I got the shirt out of the new Pro Wrestling Tees crate. The Adventures in Wrestling Figure Collecting, the Major Pod shirt that's out of it. This crate was great this month. I really liked it. I wouldn't say it blew me away totally, but I mean, it had some really good stuff in it, which I'll kind of show off to you real quick. And in case you're wondering, for the audio-only listeners, the Major Pod shirt that I have is a complete parody of the cover for the movie Adventures in Babysitting. So just imagine that, but instead it's got, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Swoggle, and Mark Sterling, their faces on the bodies instead. So really cool. So first off, out of the crate, what we got was this awesome Road Warriors in Japan DVD, which I'm going to crack open when I'm done doing all my recording today and watch this. Really excited to check it out. There's the list of the matches on the DVD right there on the back. Hopefully you can see that. If there are any issues with being able to see anything because of glare, reflections, anything like that, I do apologize in advance. I'm trying to shoot the camera from the other side just to kind of see if I can get a little bit better quality out of it. So I'm basically shooting blind today. Also, got a Sabu pin. Pretty cool. A Pro Wrestling Tees sticker, which is designed like the Bash of the Beach logo, which is pretty great. Also got it looks like a Colt Cabana Micro Brawler pencil topper. Like, it's got a hole in the bottom of it. So I guess it's going to be a pencil topper, maybe. Oh, hell, let's just open it up real quick while we're doing this and see. And I do like it, though, because it's kind of more modern version of Colt Cabana. Yeah, see, so there you go. You would just put on top of your pen or your pencil. And, yeah, that's, it's interesting, but not bad. Pretty cool. Like I said, but it is more the modern version of Colt Cabana than the older version. But still really cool, like that. The other t-shirt we got in the box is this Texas Tornado shirt, which is not bad, you know. Modern day warrior Kerry Von Erich. Pretty cool shirt. I'm into it. I mean, not as cool as the Major Pod shirt, but it is a pretty cool shot of Kerry on there. Then our micro brawler this month was the Atom Bomb. I did not get the chase this month. Hopefully next month we'll see if we can pull off another one. So far we've gotten 3, so maybe we can keep that streak of luck going. The Atom Bomb brawler is very cool though. Really do like that. Of course, Atom Bomb was always one of those characters. His overall design and aesthetics was very cool to me. And then finally, our auto this month, which is actually probably why I wasn't so blown away by it, is Joey Janela. So if you need a Joey Janela autograph, slide in my DMs, and I'm willing to part with it, and we can just negotiate something and we can make that happen for you. I mean, I've got nothing personally against Joey Janela, but I just not my cup of tea. So yeah, that was our Pro Wrestle crate from Pro Wrestling Tees for this month. Very, very cool. I mean, honestly, the major pod shirt that came with it was almost worth the price of admission on that thing. And if anything, if you have a person in your life who is a fan of pro wrestling, I would highly recommend these crates as a gift. My wife got me a year subscription to the crate for a Christmas gift, and hands down, it's one of the best Christmas gifts I've ever gotten. Like every month, it just seems to just really, it is great. I think it's a great value. Lots of bang for your buck, so very good investment. So check that out, ProWrestlingTees.com, and check out the Pro Wrestling Crate. And I know that some of them you can even get the crates with just the shirts only. I like all the gimmicks that come with it, so I'm just going to stick to keep doing it that way. Also, this week, I showed pictures of it on my Instagram, but I haven't really showed it off on the pod yet. I finally got my first PSA submission in, my first slab, and that is going to be the Rainbow Pikachu VMAX. Came in at a 9, so that was a little bit disappointing to me. I was really hoping to get a solid 10 on it. I really wish I knew what I got knocked for, because this thing pretty much went from the pack into a top loader right away. I mean, I don't see any whiting on the edges or any creases or anything, but they gave it a 9. I mean, I'm guessing possibly on the centering, but regardless, still a beautiful card. So that's gonna be a nice little addition to my card collection right there. And then also to finalize the show notes for this week, I will be doing a pod next weekend as well. What day I'll be recording and uploading, I'm not quite sure just yet, but hopefully it will be by Sunday at the latest. It kind of depends on the happenings for the weekend, and all things considered. Also, if you haven't checked it out, take time to go check out that Matrix trailer that's out. It's been out for about 2 or 3 weeks now, but I'm really excited about the new Matrix movie that's coming out. I really, really look forward to it. A huge Keanu Reeves fan. And I think it's going to be really good. There's a lot of people being kind of skeptical about it, but I think it's going to be a great movie to check out. And also, don't forget, Evil Dead's 40th anniversary one night only re-release will be happening at your theaters on October 7th, which is a Thursday. So check out theaters in your area that host Fathom events. And if you want more information on that, check out fathomevents.com and find a theater in your area that's hosting it. I believe showtimes are going to be at 7:30 for that evening. It's going to be a one and done. So check that out as well. It'd be a good chance for you to catch an awesome cult classic on the big screen. And I don't know, you'd be surprised how much of a difference movies like that make when you get to see them on the big screen like that. I know when I got to go see Back to the Future on the big screen, I mean, I've always loved that movie, but seeing it in a theater was really tremendous. It was such a cool experience. So yeah, check that movie out, because it's well worth it. And if you've never seen Evil Dead, even if you don't want to go to the theater and check it out on some form of streaming service. I'm sure it's out there. Absolute cult classic. Wonderful movie. And I always have time for it. It's one of the things I can watch over and over again and never get tired of. But guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the podcast. Remember to follow me over on Instagram at collectingrog. Check me out over on TikTok and give me a follow there, also at collectingrog. Check me out on the YouTube channel if you're listening to this audio only, also at collectingrog. Give me a subscribe there. Hit the like button. Go check out the plethora of content that I've posted to that channel. There is a lot of unboxings, reviews, and of course now the video version of the podcast is up there as well. And we are still pushing towards that 100 subscriber mark. Again, I know low number, but hey, you got to start somewhere. And we get to that point, I will still be doing that video tour of the toy room. But guys, it's going to wrap it up. Thank you as always for joining me. Remember to also follow the podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Just search Collecting Raj and it'll pull it up right there for you. But as always, thank you for checking me out and have yourselves an awesome week.